I am number one on yoga, and today is Sunday, the 25th of December, Christmas Day. Perfect day to do a little bit of yoga. So, start off with a quick forward fold to decompress the spine, get out any kinks in the neck. There's a couple kinks there, and the low back. Yeah, everything feels good. Alright, so get the timer started. Next up, down dog. So you kind of relax here, you're trying to straighten the legs. Trying to rotate the pelvis forward. Yeah, so yesterday I had the fingers straight forward. My wrist didn't quite like that, so let's turn the fingers out to the side. Yeah, let's have a little more profile. Oh, let's go for profile mode. There we go. So you can, if you want, you bend the knees so you can straighten the back a little bit. Rotate the hips up to the side. Stretch on the back. And relax. But yeah, try to, slowly work the legs straight. Yeah, so in this pose, I can't quite work the legs straight here. There's too much sensation. Which is pretty interesting, right? Because my hamstrings are pretty loose, but not in this pose. And some effort in the shoulders. Shoulders are not used to doing this for this long. Yeah, straighten the back. Can't pick those toes up. So that's ideally what you want to do, right? You want to have the feet flat on the earth. You want to have the toes picked up. You want the spine down. You want the shoulders open. Right? So I'm feeling a little bit of stretch on the armpit side of the shoulders. While at the same time I'm feeling the muscle on my shoulders have sustained effort. Which is interesting. So I have to stretch the opposite side muscles to use the opposite side muscles and stretch the first side muscles, kind of like the hamstrings, right? You gotta use the quads, stretch the hamstrings. Try to rotate that pelvis a little more. Because when I do the hamstrings individually, they can do that, but when I'm doing all this at the same time, right, which is stretching the back and both hamstrings and the hips, not quite so easy. Alright, so we get the next timer. Let's turn this around. This is the 25th, so I'll face towards the left. Upward facing dog. Let the low back get into place. Watching the video yesterday, it looks like I'm doing nothing right here, right? And then eventually I just kind of put the head back. But what's happening is I've got pretty intense sensation on the low back, which is not allowing me to go the, 2 or 3 degrees or so further. But if I sit here and wait, the vertebrae and the discs or whatever it is that's causing the sensation gets into the right spot. So even though it's just not that visible on the video. Right, now my low back has gotten into place and I can stretch back. Whereas had I tried to, and I can actually use my shoulders and push back a little bit and the low back doesn't complain. Whereas if I'd tried that a couple minutes earlier, or not a couple minutes, about 30, 40 seconds, a minute sooner, right, I would have had intense pain on my low back. That's not sustainable and things wouldn't have been good. But since I was patient and took the time, let things get into place on the low back, now I can kind of push and stress the low back a little bit. So even though it doesn't look like anything's happening, sometimes there is quite a bit happening inside. And relax and enjoy the pose. Continue to breathe. Yeah, so I've got some sensation in the low back, but I'm kind of attenuating that by controlling my angle. I've got a little bit more sensation on the wrist and forearm. And then trying to use the head and more of the upper back muscles to pull back some more. 12 seconds left. Go. That is that. Easy way to get out. Because with the arms, the way that I had them with the fingers towards the feet, that kind of locks in the elbows a little bit, so you got to be careful when you lock the elbow joint and you get out of it. You also got to be careful with the wrists. All right, the wrists need to equalize because they were super flexed back and they had a lot of weight in them. So that's that. Next up, hey, got a viewer, awesome. Next up is wheel pose. So just did upward facing dog, so I got the low back in the right place. So now I can, there we go. Hit the wheel pose without the low back being an issue. And then turn the hands out just a little bit. And hold the pose. Yeah, so actually I feel on the mid back and I feel the abdomen stretching, which is cool. So yeah, on the back I'm feeling sensation a little bit higher. It's more of a stretching sensation. It's not a you're at the max sensation. You're at the physical hard limit between the bones sensation. The shoulders seem to give out pretty quick. I'm trying to stretch the armpits. But there's just not that much there. There's so much effort. But wait, we're not done yet. Let's go to camel pose to get the back some more work. Because the back was feeling fine, but the shoulders were shot. And in camel pose, there's more of a stretch on the front side of the body. So the abdomen, and especially the neck. And so it's just learning how to relax, learning what the limit is. And I'm using the hands, gripping the back of the thigh to prevent too much rotation. can feel the upper back moving a little more. Now just minute bits, tenths of a degree, if that much. The low back needs a little more protection. So use the hands. And that's that. Alright, super intense on the back, so actually, let's go to hero pose. There we go. So hero pose, your pelvis is kind of free to go front and back. Get the spine reset. Alright, so next up, very cool, is, now we've done all that posterior flex on the spine, you're going to do an anterior flex on the spine. Forward fold. Real forward fold, but start very slowly because I just got done with doing the posterior flex. So it's going to take a little bit for the back and the spine to get ready to do an anterior flex. To fold forward instead of folding backwards. Get those feet together. Heel, ankles, balls of the feet together. Knees straight as best as you can. Slowly relax the spine. Use the hands on the legs to help prevent too much rotation before the back's ready. But then once you're ready, feel that stretch. Straighten the legs. See what you can do. Look at that. Right under the light, right in the shadow. You can flip the arms if you're trying to keep yourself balanced. Because I've got a minute 30 seconds left, I'm going to put the hands under the feet. Fingertips touching the heel. See the tip of the middle finger touching the heel of the foot. Balls of the feet pressing into the palm. Getting some extra balance challenge. Also, it seems like for whatever reason I can get a little bit further. I have more space to rotate the pelvis. And there's some kind of stretch going on. Again, right, the hamstrings are open. I'm not feeling a super intense stretch on the hamstrings. But there is something preventing a further rotation on the pelvis. Some kind of nerve stretch somewhere. Yeah, so when you've got the legs straight and you're trying to rotate the pelvis forward, right, there's a nerve stretch in there, a nerve that needs to get stretched. It's like the nerves going to the hamstring instead of the hamstring muscle itself being stretched. Because the muscles are pretty loose, pretty open. But then you get the rest of the body involved, and different things are required. So that's that. All right. Very cool. All right. So hip openers. Yeah, super advanced hip opener. Don't try this at home unless you're ready. Like the first mode would just be like this, right? Just hold the foot up close to the chest, right? But eventually, right, you see that foot, that lovely foot, and be very careful with these muscles down here because they're sliding back and forth over the bone. If they're not loose, if they're not open, when they slide over the bone, they might get into a spot that's not good. Well, I felt that stretch very quickly on the left thigh. So while I was trying to get it around the back of the head, very quickly the nerve said, yeah, no, don't do that. It's an interesting dance, right? Because you're trying to relax the muscle. But if you've gone too far in your stretch, right, you have to put tension on the muscle to protect the muscle. So it's trying to find a point where you can, in the stretch, where you can relax the muscle completely. Feel that tension. So as you find that point and you hold it, right? So hold these poses for quite some time, for 3 minutes or so. Alright, that's where you feel the growth. So I got my head, got the foot behind the head, right? But is it sustainable? That's the question. You see how my left arm just kind of naturally fits in around the thigh, right? So when you get both feet behind the head, right, you put both hands around like that. So that's where that's going to go. The point now is to relax the left leg, the left thigh. So I do feel the stretch. That's a little bit more of a nerve stretch. Nerve seems more like the nerves and the arteries are getting stretched. And the low back, the vertebrae are pressing into the floor. I didn't feel comfortable, so that's why I rotated over. But apparently there's no good position for that. Starting to be a little bit too much sensation. For another 10 seconds. Pulse the muscles a little bit. And there we go. Yeah, and so that cuts off blood flow. That's why, don't try that at home. Just kind of don't, right? Until you're ready to do it. How are you going to know when you're ready? Yeah, you'll know. When the body doesn't say no anymore, right? So yeah, the starter pose is just bringing us up here, sitting up, right? Because then when you go down, you straighten out the back, and you start to bring the foot towards the chest. And you'll start to feel more of a stretch down there. And then, yeah, like I was saying, right, you can start off like this, but now I've kind of found, well, you just put the foot, you can bring the foot around, and at that point right there, when I went up like this, that's where the muscle kind of flipped over on the other side of the bone. Be extremely careful with that, because, if the muscles aren't ready, stuff that's not good can happen. And so we get cruising on the other side. Take care to not go too far too fast. Take stock. How is the body feeling? There we go. Got the shin behind the head, but not sure if it's sustainable. Yeah, not quite. Because even though I had the foot all the way behind the head, right, which is my eventual purpose, as I try to relax the hip muscle, I was saying no. And the point, where you find growth is at the point of the pose where you can completely relax the muscle being stretched. Because if you can't, right, sometimes you have to tense that muscle to support it, to prevent it from getting injured. And you can tell that by how much pain there is, pain or sensation. You want to be at the point where you can completely relax the muscle that you're stretching. So maybe now a little more. Yeah, again, the right arm just kind of naturally goes to the outside of the thigh. You can place the back of the right hand at the glute. So eventually, when you get both feet behind the head, you interlace the hands behind the back. The hands go around the legs and behind the back. I've been able to do that before, it's just been a while. There's 16 seconds. Because if you don't practice your stretching, you lose it. Body tightens up. Alright, and very carefully, because again, these muscles have interesting movements around there. Let the blood flow go back to the leg. There we go. And since that was not intense enough, right, now we do some more intense stretches. Legs. A little more than 90. Although as I say that, I've been getting the legs further and further apart, day by day. Today's 25th, so we start with the left leg. Just bring the legs in a little bit. And that low back, the low pelvis, or the top part of the pelvis, right where the spine meets the pelvis. There's always that little sensation right there. And relax. Because you set your intent, right? And then let the body find its own way there. And then you gotta get the man parts out of the way. Because the pelvis is rolling forward, right? Man parts are stuck to the floor because you're wearing pants, right? And you've got a friction surface. Rolling the pelvis on top of the man parts doesn't feel good. Left hamstring needed some repositioning on the carpet. And yeah, doing that, got the man parts a little bit out of whack. And there we go. Comfortable? Yeah, not so much. But sustainable, yes. So feel that stretch on the left hamstring. And then I'm not exactly certain what it is that I'm doing, but I'm enhancing the stretch on the left hamstring a little bit. It feels like I'm doing a little bit of a posterior flex on the spine. And then also trying to open the shoulders just a hair. And now I get a lot of sensation on the left hamstring close to the glute. So that's the chill out signal. And just relax. Get another 14 seconds. 3 seconds. And there we go. So yeah, there we go. I mean, the hamstring is pretty open, right? But those other stretches, right? The compound, or doing those forward folds, they don't feel that open. But in any case, alright, so yeah, now I'm feeling the effects of that, right? And it took me a while to get there. Now, do that on the other side. Just gotta wait for the spine again. The spine and pelvis have to get into position for this side. And it's the right side, so it goes a little bit faster. For the spine and pelvis. But then the shoulder is a little tighter. And reposition that hamstring on the earth just a hair. And right hand under the left hamstring. Because it's just that easy. And then feel that stretch.
pulse and move just a little bit. So again, yeah, I'm doing some kind of a posterior flex on the spine or pelvis to increase sensation on the hamstring. And try to rotate the shoulders open. Lots of sensation. A lot of sensation on the left shoulder. A lot of sensation on the right hamstring. Right, it doesn't. Well, yeah, just a lot of sensation on that right hamstring. Also, because it's getting pressed into the floor, right? Because with this positioning on the body, I'm actually rolling from on the pelvis to being a little more on the hamstring. So not only am I stretching the hamstring just by position of the bones, but I'm also pressing into the hamstring, the floor. The hamstring is pressing into the floor into the hamstring to give it additional stretch and sensation. For another 20 seconds, more or less. Feel that shoulder. Yeah, it's really inching on the shoulder. When I tense the muscle, right, I don't feel so much of a stretch. But then it's relaxing the shoulder, where I start to feel some nagging sensation and stretch. And that's that. Be very gentle. Yeah, because I got the right shoulder all the way on the earth inside the knee. So you want to slowly come up, pulse those muscles a little bit, get everything, make sure everything's working right. When you pulse gently, right? Yeah. All right. So splits practice. Wide splits. I'll roll back just a little bit so I can move forward. Go just enough to get the front of the body entirely on the floor, get the man parts out of the way, and there you go. Now relax. So of course I feel sensation, but the intensity isn't nearly as much as the prior stretch, as when I was getting the shoulder down inside the knee. And that's just because those work different muscles, works the inner thighs, and I've been practicing this for quite some time, a lot longer than I've been practicing the other stretch. So this is more of a maintenance pose for me, just being able to maintain this amount of flexibility. So it's actually very relaxing. You can just sit here and relax. Gently pulse the muscles a little bit. Feel the breath as it slides in and out of the body. Feel the lungs. Don't just feel your rib cage area. Actually, imagine your conscious awareness of the lungs themselves. And all the air passageways, so the trachea, the sinuses. Don't just imagine the air passing back and forth. Feel all the inner surfaces of the body that the air passes over. for 15 seconds. And that's that. All right. Dismiss that, maybe. There we go. All right, start up. Next timer. Next up, handstand practice. All right, so hands under the shoulders. Press up. Yeah, remember, be very careful. Your mileage may vary. And get ready, because you're going to transfer the weight onto the hands, and you're going to lift the hips up. It's just that easy, right? Right. It's a challenge every day. Balance. Lock the arms to save effort, but bend the elbows to maintain control. Use the fingers for balance. Balance on the hand. Use the whole hand for balance. Come on. Hold it. Ah. That's that. And yeah, so I don't know how to walk the hands, right? Or at least I'm not used to that. I'm getting used to balance first. Eventually I'd like to be able to walk in the hands. So let's see if we can do that again. But let's do that a little easier. So going up with the feet wide, it's a little different than going up from yogi squat. With yogi squat, you've got more, the weight is centered more front to back, whereas when the legs out to the side, you've got a lot of weight off to the side. So you've got less front to back weight that you're having to deal with. So it's a different balance challenge, slightly different balancing algorithm for the body to learn, especially like if you start off with crow pose. All right, and then lift those hips up. Oh, come on. Yeah, something like that. All right, so that's that. We got a minute left. Yeah, finish off the headstand. Hey. There we go. So, headstand. It's a very personal practice. You don't do it until you're ready. And you'll know when you're ready. Because you got all the weight into the neck. So you really want to support that when you're just starting with your hands and your feet. Put as little weight into the neck as possible. But of course, eventually you're going to have to transfer that in there. So you go very slow, you honor and respect the body. Just because you see somebody else doing it doesn't mean you can do it yourself the first day. So yeah, honor and respect the body. Oh, come on, bounce. And that's that. And then bring the knees to the elbows. Ever so graceful, right? Cool, yeah, see? Once you practice lotus enough, you can just spin around in lotus. So much fun. Well, the two of you that showed, awesome. Thanks so much. Hope you all enjoy your day, this Christmas day. Hope you got a lot of good presents, if you celebrate that. And see you all next time, 8 a.m. yoga.